I'm here today in Detroit at this remarkable conference, pulling together thought leaders from all across the country, trying to think about this difficult question of revitalizing our urban core areas that have been underperforming for so long in this country. And I think what I'm feeling is that the general awareness of the sort of inequality and the divide in America has really riveted much more attention on this topic today than when we really first introduced this work 20 years ago. And I think that's a tremendous opportunity that we have to really move the needle and accelerate progress. And I believe that actually the most powerful force for change in inner cities is ideas and knowledge and learning and data, which allows us to benchmark, and it allows us to spread strategy thinking around the country. And I think the EDQ's special issue on this topic will be hopefully a seminal event in this field, because it's given us an excuse to engage more scholars in working on this area. And I think the ICIC's rapidly growing programs, I think, are only going to grow faster given the kind of discussions we've had here at this meeting. So I want to thank Upjohn and EDQ and the Fed for helping make this remarkable meeting happen, which I hope will be an inflection point in this field. One of the things that I think has come out of the work over the last 20 years or so is this growing body of work on clusters or agglomerations of businesses in related fields in a particular location. We all think of Hollywood. There's a cluster, a classic cluster. Life sciences in Massachusetts is a classic cluster. Automotive in Detroit is a classic cluster. And many years ago, we put out the hypothesis that actually the ability to form clusters and strengthen clusters would be a driver of economic development and economic growth. And that was initially a hypothesis. It was an informed hypothesis based on a lot of on-the-ground experience. But over the last 20 years, we've been able to, for the first time, actually put in place the rich data, the rigorous data, to actually allow statistical examination of the impact of clusters. And lo and behold, what we found is that strong clusters are associated with everything good. Job growth, wage growth, patenting growth, and many, many other good economic outcomes. So now the question is, how do we deploy this knowledge of the power of clusters for thinking about economic development, not only for regions as a whole, but also for inner city areas, these economically distressed urban communities. And I think what we've learned is that actually clusters exist within inner cities. So there's food clusters that are within these economically distressed areas, and where clusters form, they matter. There's a paper in the special issue that will really demonstrate that where an inner city can put in place a cluster, it pays off in terms of good economic outcomes. We've also found, though, that if you can connect what's happening in the inner city to clusters in the region, the inner city often is well placed to play certain roles, supplier roles, support services roles, that can kind of hook into those regional clusters. And where we can get that connection made, that also turns out to have very positive impacts on job growth and other economic outcomes. So I think this is a complex problem, and it's made more complex by the context of the U.S. economy now, which is frankly much less robust than it was 20 or 25 years ago. But on the other hand, we've got the knowledge that has grown, and also the commitment on the part of so many major corporations and so many mayors and so many other leaders to do something about this. And I think that in a way, I think the commitment will hopefully more than outweigh the greater challenge that we have in terms of the economic context. And I think we're going to see hopefully a surge of progress here. So again, it's been a joy to be here at this incredible meeting. The energy that I felt both during my presentation and afterwards was awesome, and hopefully we'll continue to follow the Detroit progress, but also to see progress taking place in many other places.